Namaste. This is Dr. Robert, and today on 5-ish Minutes with Dr. Robert, my subject is please remain calm. This is something that I often tell myself because we're living in a world in which there are plenty of opportunities not to be calm. Things are always happening, and the more complicated life becomes, the more things continue to happen. The challenge is always, and I personally find this repeatedly, even today, after telling myself this many times, the problem is always that we cannot accurately predict exactly what is going to happen as the result of a particular event. And since we can't do that, that's all the more reason to remain calm so that we can act in the context of when something happens rather than continuously be reacting and then reacting to our reactions and getting caught in this kind of useless and often very frivolous activity that is not getting us anywhere. I am reminded of a story that I have recounted many times, but I think is worth recounting here. It's a story that comes from China originally, and it involves a farmer. And he was a man of few words, and one of his most common expressions was, "Let's see." And so he had a small family, and he had a small piece of property, and he was taking care of it. And one day, a horse came from out of nowhere and landed on the farm. And all of his neighbors said, "Oh, what a wonderful opportunity for you. The horse has arrived here. Wow, you suddenly are rich and you're doing better. And heaven must be smiling down on you." And the farmer said, "Let's see." And a few days later, his son decided that he wanted to go out and try to ride the horse, because that's what you have to do with the horse. You have to, if you want it to work for you, you and the horse have to establish a relationship. So he got onto the horse promptly reared up, bucked him off, and he fell onto the ground and he broke his leg. And now all the neighbors said, "Oh, how wrong we were. In fact, that horse is some sort of demonic being that has come out of nowhere in order to ruin your life." And the farmer continued to maintain equanimity and calm, and he said, "Let's see." So now there was a horse that couldn't be ridden, and a son who had a broken leg and therefore could not go out and help him on the farm. So now the farmer is working harder, and he is breathing in and breathing out and continuing about his work. Meanwhile, the barbarians have invaded, and the Emperor of China has indicated to his generals that they must immediately go to this province, collect all the able-bodied young men, and immediately go out and attack the barbarians with all that they've got. So the army came through, picked up all the young men in the village, except, of course, for the farmer's son, who was laid up with a broken leg. And all the young men went there, and there was a giant slaughter, and fortunately, the farmer's son was spared. And now all the neighbors said, "Oh, how wonderful it is that your son had a broken leg," because thankfully he was not able to be grabbed by the army and taken out to be slaughtered. And the farmer answered them, as usual, "Let's see." So the point of this story is that we may be able to have a general concept, and of course, naturally, if you practice things like Ayurveda and Jyotisha, you are trying to predict all the time what is going to happen in the context of an individual who is behaving in a particular way and has developed certain patterns that may not be good for that person. In the context of Jyotish, you want to predict what may happen to this individual who has certain planets that are influencing him or her in a particular way. But ultimately, no matter how accurate you believe your prediction to be, you can't completely 100% ever know, and therefore you need to remain calm. You need to maintain a balance of equanimity. So if what you think is going to happen does happen, you will be able to ride that current of alertness, awareness, and the prana that is beneath it to preferably and hopefully a desirable conclusions about the future. And if your conclusion was wrong, then if you maintain your equanimity, you will be able to immediately figure out what step you should take next in order to try to realign yourself with reality so that you can perceive it more accurately. This is Dr. Robert requesting everyone to please remain calm.